And we start a brand new month here on this preview show, as we are going to talk about the first weekend of February here at Los Alamitos, the weekend of February 4th and 5th. Most notably, we'll talk about Saturday night, which is Saturday, February 4th. So, Chris, welcome back to the program. January flew by with those big stakes events, but also we got to see some very nice contenders in last week's trials of the Brad McKenzie Winter Championship. Boy, I want to get your thoughts. What about a win by Empressum after missing the start?
Boy, she well named her once. That horse was Empressum. 1947, despite breaking slow and getting bumped back and still getting the nose down on top of the wire. 1947, just being given 20 trouble, which is like a length and a quarter, length and a half. 1947, I mean, Jiminy Christmas, we're talking like 1917, I mean, 1927, with trouble left the track variant. Oh my gosh, he was very, very impressive, very well named, very impressive performance. Getting the fastest qualifier in the Brad McKenzie All-Star Winter Championship trials.
And look, I gave during our broadcast there on FanDuel TV, I gave a big tip of the cap to Rodrigo Vallejo because look, all things considered, we're heading into that card with a big pick six carryover, right? And leading into that card, it just looked like Empressum and 8 political pens were a slam dunk. So that pick six looked like a pick four. The late pick four looked like a double, right? So we're talking about trials. When you have a missed break just like that, it's easy for a rider to say, you know what? It wasn't our day. I'm just going to let my horse cruise on. I'll finish second or third and still make the finals. It was only 2 trials. Yada, yada, yada. Well, no. Rodrigo Vallejo went all out and said, you know what? I'm going to ask my horse. I think we can still win the race. And they got up in the final strides. Now, yes, it's a magnificent horse. But tip of the cap to the rider, Rodrigo Vallejo, because that is protecting the better. With the carryover like that, of course, everybody's handicapping the races. You think it's a single. You missed a break. Rodrigo could just say, you know what? We're going to take it easy. We don't need to run all out to qualify. But instead, he went to ask his horse. They got the win. Yes, it was an impressive win, but tip of the cap because that protects the horse players that, put in their money and all that, and they say, we got the win despite the trouble. So shout out to Rodrigo Vallejo.
Yeah, sure as heck, a great ride. Yeah, a race like that, a horse breaks slow. Let's protect the horse. Yes. Let's get him qualified for the big dance. But he pushed on and got the victory. Very, very impressive performance by both horse and rider.
Yes, big tip of the cap to both horse and rider in that event. All right, let's talk about Saturday night's card. We got 10 races. We're going to focus, I think, on the second half of the program. Although there's 2 legs. Actually, I'll give it the betting public the 2 legs that I thought were the toughest on the card. Race number 4, which is the closeout leg of the early pick 4, and then race number 7, which is the beginning leg of the late pick 4. So those 2 races on Saturday's program, to me, were the most difficult. And even part of the late pick 4 sequence, which are the quarter horse events, there are some favorites that are going to be strong favorites, but I'm not so sure everybody is a clear standout. So I like that you're taking a look at one of the quarter horse events. And let me bring up the PPs here. We're going to talk about race number 9 is where you're going to take us. An allowance, 300 yards. What do you like in this spot?
This is a very closely matched affair. With that being said, I was impressed by the 5-horse Navaja last time. This one got fractures behind the gate. And when she went in, this horse leaned back at the start and drifted away from the gate, lost a length and a quarter, or at the very least, something along those lines, but finished very, very strongly to be right there. And very impressive performance. Everything factored in. The horse's figure was a career best on my chart. So why not give this runner a look? She can mind her manage inside the gate just a little bit better and get out of the barrier. Big look there at, I think it's like 4-1, 5-1 in that 9th event, which is a closely matched affair.
Here is the replay for Navaja, January 7th, only a field of 5, and she had the outside post. What did you see in this replay?
Yeah, like you said, she got fractures behind the gate, leaned back, veered in, threw the head sideways. It was running a little head cock sideways, kind of slow in the stride, asked a little bit left-handed midway, but finished very strongly on own. We're just sort of stride now, very strong. She gave a big head start to the other runners in that affair, beating a half a length of the whole thing. starting out very, very well. Not the biggest body of runners, but has a heart as big as a track because she gives 100% every single time that runner's on the racetrack.
And look, she's 2 for 10 overall, but 4 seconds, 2/3. She pretty much misses the break. The only one that broke worse than her was a 5. And you're right. She made up a ton of ground on some very good runners, and she wasn't really being asked for the best because the rider was trying to keep her as straight as possible, right?
Yeah, because she ran a little headcock sideways, kind of drifted in the final half of the affair. But you know what? She was doing this all on her own. She is a runner, gives 100% every single time, the kind of horse you love to own because she's going to give you what she's got, and had trouble. Very well could have made that race a photo better at the wire versus some quality runners despite all that trouble. Very impressive performance and a quality figure on my numbers.
It was. And Navaja, even though she was the betting favorite in that spot, but like you mentioned, the start pretty much changed the entire complexion of the race. And now in this 9th event on Saturday night, it's a 300-yard allowance, which is the same distance as that race last time out. So I think you're gonna get every bit of that 4-1, I think.
Yeah, you got a quality runner down on the inside. Our Ladies Dynasty qualified for the Deuce Consolation, and some other runners that had quality figures in there. So she's up against a good group of runners. If she could just mind her manners a little bit, break with the field, she's got to look at the outcome because she's, like I said, it's got a heart as big as a track and gives you everything she's got. So I'm going to give her a look there at 4-1 that 9th event.
Quick look at the field. Our Ladies Dynasty draws the inside post. I'm Born to Fly in gate number 2. Yes, Dynasty being gate 3, who has not raced since December, but she comes in with a pretty good resume for Johnny Trotter. Remember her. For Scott Willoughby, Armando Cervantes, a hard trier. There's Navaja, Itinerary at 15-1, and AJ Run for Cash at 7-2, coming out of the same race as Our Ladies Dynasty. And look at Ed Burghart's morning line. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 runners between 5-2 and 4-1. That tells you kind of what a good quality field we have assembled in this allowance spot.
Yeah, very closely matched affair. When you got the best morning maker, bar none in the country, any breed, the morning line that closely figured. This is a tough race and closely matched affair.
You can't get anything by Mr. Ed Burghardt. You can't let anything go by between Ed Burghardt. Just when you think you found a price, I'm gonna get 8-1. You can't get anything by Ed Burghardt. He's the best.
Any other racetrack in the country, you get these video horses that are 8-1, 9-1, 8-1, 10-1 morning line. Anywhere else in the country, you're looking at 7-2, 3-1 on a horse that got the length and 3/4. He doesn't miss anything.
No, he doesn't. That's why he's the best. In semi-retirement, he still does the morning line here for Los Alamitos, and he still does a few things behind the scenes as well. So shout out to Ed Burghardt, and a shout out to you. And hopefully we can get Navaja at a nice price at our 4-1. I think she's got a shot as well in that spot. So Chris, best of luck with that selection. Let's see. We need to pick up the slack because Michael Wrona's on fire, Chris. Michael Wrona's on fire.
Yeah, the man in the booth was kicking our butt the last few weeks on the weekend preview show. He won again last time. He won again last time. Last time with Ghost of the Fire there for Monty Rose there. I think it was like 4-1. And my second choice, his top choice, and he got the job done once again. I guess like 3 weeks in a row. Yeah,
and he's smacking us around. We need to pick up the slack, Chris. We'll try to stay hot there. So best of luck with Navaja. Good to talk to you. And we'll see you out there at Los Alamitos this weekend.
All right, boss. Hopefully 6 o'clock on Saturday night with a solid 10-race program.
Looking forward to it. See you there.
The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos with the Los Alamitos Winter Derby and the Brad McKenzie Los Alamitos Winter Championship Finals, February 18th and 19th. It's round 3 in the Clash of Titans in the Brad McKenzie, as world champion Empressum takes on Apolitical Pence, who is the only horse to have defeated him at Los Alamitos. And in the Winter Derby, fastest qualifier Ghost Wither Fire headlines a great cast in the Grade 1 Derby. Quarter horse racing's best, led by Empressum versus Apolitical Pence at Los Alamitos Racecourse. Racing fans, the traditional $2 pick six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. And at Los Alamitos, when there's not a pick six carryover on Sunday nights, we'll add $10,000 to the pick six pool. That means every Sunday night Los Alamitos has either a pick six carryover or the $10,000 pick six promo. Our total pools have been gigantic, with a season high figure of over $322,000. And our popular 10,000 pick six promo nights create a big time wagering opportunity. The traditional $2 pick six, a great bet, a great deal. It's always at Los Alamitos.
How about that? A round 3 between those top 2 classy runners in a couple of weeks. Michael, first of all, your thoughts about Empressum's impressive performance on trials night.
Phenomenal. To put up that performance, that time, given the start that he had, was absolutely outrageous. And wasn't it from gate 2 that he lost that Robert Boniface Invitational to Apolitical Pence? And so here he was again in gate 2 in this trial to the Brad McKenzie Winter Championships. And Heath Taylor said that the horse had never begun so poorly.
Yes.
And it's one thing to clock a closing split of 9.36, but to do it from so far off the lead horse, to be making that much ground into a sensational closing 2:20 split like that, it's just, he never ceases to amaze.
Yeah, that was quite a sight to see on trials night, and he showed that class, and of course to be able to rally after that and to catch a top runner, Scoops, with that kind of start, it was sensational performance by both horse and rider there, and we'll get to see a round 3 between Empressum, Apolitical Pence, in that final in just a couple of weeks. They're looking ahead, since we're already talking about the schedule. There will be no live racing here the weekend of February 12th, 11th and 12th. So 11th and 12th, there will be no live racing here at Los Alamitos as we take the weekend off. Traditionally, Los Alamitos we don't usually race on that big game Sunday, so we'll be off on that Saturday as well. So we'll resume racing on that weekend of the 18th and 19th, which is the finals of both the Winter Derby and Winter Championship. Michael, I'm surprised you're not wearing a big jacket because you're red hot. You're trying to stay warm. What are you doing? I mean, I think I might be wrong, but this might be 4 shows in a row. I know at least for sure 3 shows in a row that you're giving us a winning selection.
Well, there was one week where we didn't race because of the wet weather cancellation.
Yeah.
So it's 3 straight winners over 4 weeks. And they've all been good odds.
Yes.
7-1 for Executive Eagle and 4-1 somehow for Charlie Brown. And then even the winner last week, Ghost with a Fire, off a 9-2 morning line, started 6-1. So we've got some value lately, and quite happy about it. Ghost with a Fire was terrifically impressive as the fastest Winter Derby trial winner.
Yeah, and with those kind of prices, Michael, you can go over the next 15 shows, and I think the public will be seeing a profit. So don't go on a cold streak on us here. Let's try to keep it hot here. As we took a look at 10 races on Saturday night, why don't we dive into your selection for this upcoming Saturday? And I know to me, it's one of the most tricky races on the card. It is the start of the late pick 4, but you're taking us to race number 7.
Yes, it's a 1,000-yard allowance. It is a very open race. Ed Burgard has the morning line favourite pegged at 3-1. That's Win Happy number 6, who's on a winning streak himself. He's had 3 straight wins, just like I've had 3 straight winners on the preview show. Win Happy is in great form, no doubt, but there's a fair bit of speed signed up here. Yana's Wildcat drawn directly outside. Win Happy is a very fast horse as well. I think there'll be a lot of pace pressure. Akipo R can kick along the inside and be a part of it early. I'm fancying Cat Bernay from the outside post, Jose. This is a horse who was actually a winning selection for me at 9-2 in a race back in mid-November from the outside gate, when ridden by Saturday night's jockey Francisco Orduna Rojas. And I think he's spotted to perform well again this Saturday night. This was a fairly straightforward win. He broke well and was never far off the leader, and drew away and won it comfortably enough by almost a length. That's him in the white with the red cap out wide. He had blinkers on for the first time on that particular occasion. Subsequently, Jose, he was never a factor in that $50,000 final won by See Through It, but you give him a pass for that. And then he was second during a daytime race at the Thoroughbred meet at Los Alamitos in December. And most recently got cooked in a speed duel at Santa Anita. So he's had some awkward placement in his races, some awkward, difficult spotting since this win we're looking at from back in mid-November. And I like him again at similar odds to last time in November, 7-2 on the morning line for Saturday night. What I kind of like about him is he's got some versatility. Even though he was up near the speed throughout in that replay we just saw, he has been effective from off the pace. There's some races, if you go back to August and September, where he really displayed a strong closing kick. In fact, I think he was best in that September race where he finished a close third. So he's got a little versatility. Orduna Rojas has one on him from the outside gate, and he can size up the situation as they go helter-skelter through the first quarter mile. And as long as he doesn't get stacked too wide, I think Cat Bernay can be very tough to beat here.
And speaking of Francisco Orduna Rojas, with Francisco, with Ricardo Ramirez and Edgar Pierre's now riding the first couple of weeks here at Los Al to kick off the new season, what a hot start for Francisco Orduna Rojas. He's been red fire, Michael.
Yes, indeed. And Milton Pineda continues to tick over in the training ranks at a very high rate. So I certainly have some strong connections in my corner. And this horse owes me nothing. It's a tough open race. But again, I do like his outside draw, a little touch of versatility in what looks a speed-laden affair. And let's see if I can go 2 for 2 with Cat Bernay as a preview show selection.
I like that. And since at the time of this recording, I already submitted all my selections for the Nightlines PPs, the Nightlines program that you can purchase on track and via the Los Angeles website. I already know who I tapped as my lock of the night and my long shot of the night. So I'm going to share it quickly with the viewers. My price play of the night lands in race number 5. Race number 5 is a Stallion Yard conditional claimer, 6250. And it's actually the smallest field of the night. Well, actually, one of the most compact fields of the night. I top State Golden as my price play of the night. State Golden is 8-1, is the biggest morning line price in that field of 6. There's a lot of speed in this field, and I'm thinking this could be a race that set up for the closer. I know Awesome Kites is making a quick turnaround up in class off of that win last time out, but Perfecto Moore can flash speed. Bob Snapper is probably going to go. Abaddon is probably going to go, and even Van Slammer wasn't racing in about a year.
He's a very fast horse.
Yeah, he's probably going to be sent along and kind of be hustled. So I'm thinking if the pace falls apart, I'm looking for State Golden to pop up at a little bit of a price in that event in race number 5. So that is going to be my price play for the card. And my single in the late pick 4, Michael, I don't know if you looked at this race, but I went to that 8th, is it the 8th event? It is the 8th event. And I took the outside runner, Ron Dapasaurus Ron, as the most likely winner on the card, for my opinion, because that was the last time out. She was in that 110-yard dash. She was well backed. That was the first time she's ever been favored. So that's actually the first time she's gone under 6-1 throughout her career. So the betting public finally found a spot where they thought she was competitive, and she just came up a neck short behind Have a Heart, who was the second choice at 2-1. To me, she looks like the most horse that has shown the most gate speed in this kind of lackluster field. She draws the outside post, and I think she might have just found the field to get that maiden diploma.
Yep, very logical, and I think you're on the right tram.
And I don't mind taking a stand here, because I don't think she'll be over bet or heavily bet like a super obvious horse, because she's over 10. I still think the betting public shies away from these type of runners. I think of Ron spots like this. So even though she's over 10, I think she'll be an okay race to try to get out with a single in that 8th event. So those are a couple selections from yours truly. And Professor G will have the night off today. He won't be joining us. So I wanted to keep you along here, Michael, because last weekend you were part of the MC. You were the MC, the host there for the PCQHRA Awards Banquet. Give us a little bit about the rundown and what happened there at the awards banquet.
Sure. Yeah, we record this preview show every Thursday afternoon. Yeah. The banquet was Friday night, so it hadn't happened the last time that we did this show. And it was just so refreshing to be in a room full of people, because the last 2 years I've been just talking into a camera. The whole thing was recorded and pieced together and aired online with acceptance speeches done remotely. But we were able to do it in the live setting of the finish line room at Los Alamitos. And it was a real buzz. There were many awards given out for many deserving winners in a host of different categories, both equine and human. And one of the biggest was the Frank Vessel's Senior Award, and it went to trainer Paul Jones. We'll circle back to him at the end of this segment. But the Sam Thompson Memorial Award for leadership within the Los Alamitos racing community went to Dr. Becky Fitzgerald, our track vet. Empressum, not surprisingly, was the champion aged gelding and horse of the year. Not surprising, because just a week or so earlier, he'd taken down the equivalent national honours in Oklahoma at the AQHA Awards. Dr. Allred was the owner of the year. Jose Flores got his first Trainer of the Year award. He'd been knocking on that door for a long time, Jose. It was great to see Jose so excited to receive the Trainer of the Year award. Jesus Ayala making a bit of a habit of the Jockey of the Year award. He's won 4 of the last 5. Dr. Steve Burns, the Breeder of the Year. He had, of course, favourite Cartel, who was the champion stallion, and Remember Me Rose, the champion broodmare. The Moonist Award was terrific. Cattail Cove won the Moonist. That's an award for a horse who runs regularly across the whole calendar year, just keeps showing up, and is not one of these now you see them, now you don't sporadically raced horses, and in the style of the great Moonist. And Cattail Cove did such a great, honest job across pretty much every month of 2022. So that was a very well-deserved win by Cattail Cove, who, of course, is the favourite in our stakes race to finish off Saturday night's card. Paddy Saint came from Idaho to win that Grade 1 Mildred Vessels and qualify for the Champion of Champions. So she was the Intermountain Horse of the Year. Hey Shaker, claimed out of that claiming futurity in the middle of the year, went on to qualify for 2 major finals in the last couple of months of 2022. So he got the Most Improved Award.
Owner achievement there?
Couple of extra special acknowledgement awards. For stables and for breeders who don't necessarily have the numbers to compete for the leading owner or breeder or trainer award, but still we acknowledged some very noteworthy performances by JGA Racing and Gerald Hartley and Monte Rosa and Henry Lopez in the jockey ranks. There's a full list available online, losalamitos.com. And so it was a really fun night. And everybody, I think, enjoyed it immensely.
It is always fun to be able to congregate in a room and kind of see all the faces and talk to them. And so it was fun. We had not had this type of event in person in quite a few years there. So go to losalamitos.com. You can actually check out the awards video there featuring all the winners and nominees, and the Los Alamitos YouTube challenge where you can find this show as well. So great job to everybody involved in behind the scenes getting that awards banquet put together.
I should mention also, Jose, Jesus Uranga and Ricardo Ramirez pretty much swept the board when it came to the hook races for both mixed breed and specifically thoroughbred races. They had a fantastic 2022. They were a potent combination, and they each won multiple awards. And See Through It was the champion 1,000-yard horse. He, of course, won that $50,000 final in December.
Yes. Congrats to all the connections that were involved. And again, it was fun to be able to have that award in person, celebrating all the equine and human connections that race year-round here at Los Al. Since we talked about Cattail Cove, why don't we go back and look at the featured event for Saturday night before we say good night to this program? Because we have a stakes event to complete the card, the Flight 109 overnight handicap, 350 yards for a $20,000 purse. And I'll round out the field here. El Bobito by Cartel and 9-2. Up the ladder for Ed Allred, Scott Willoughby at 5-1. He coming out of the SoCal Derby. 5-bar runner coming back to Landolfo Diaz after a stint at Arizona in the Turf Paradise Derby over there, finishing 6th. Rock Swin making the first start of 2023 for Mike Castleman, owner and breeder and trainer. So Mike Castleman is all over the Rock Swin company lines. Cattail Cove, there he is, 4-5. He's been a mainstay. He's a fresh Munis Award recipient. At the
in the top right corner of those PPs, you can see he had 11 starts in 2022 for 2 wins and 5 minor placings. Both wins were in stakes races. His first ever stakes wins, which was just incredible to think that he hadn't actually broken through. But this horse, season after season, has been competing at the highest level. And you go back to the 2 Million Futurity in December of 2019, the last race Ed Burgart called before he retired. There's Cattail Cove in the minor placings of that race. Oh, by the way, as was Kiss Through Fire. I'm not sure whether we mentioned her, but she won as the champion aged mare at the awards last week for the 2nd year in a row. Just as she did on the national level, the AQHA Awards. So we definitely need to tip our hat to Kiss Through Fire and Cattail Cove. Amazing to think they were both in that 2 Million Futurity in December 2019.
Yes, I mean, if you think of the last couple of seasons and you think of runners that have been pretty much in every big dance in their division, it's been Cattail Cove and Kiss Through Fire. They've had tremendous campaigns over the last few years here at Los Al. Nevada Charles crossing gate number 6 for Scott Willoughby and Ed Allred. Armando Cervantes will be aboard. He was aboard for that last win on him. And then always Juan Alaman. We were just talking about Kiss Through Fire. He's the conditioner of Kiss Through Fire. He's the conditioner of Always, who draws the outside post. It's hard to not feel like Cattail Cove is Cattail Cove's race to lose, Michael. But what do you think of that bullet workout that shows on the page for Nevada Charles at 12 flat?
I cannot stop looking at it. It's jumping off the page at me, Jose. 12 flat turn and work by Nevada Charles. That's very interesting. He's talented.
Yes.
Cattail Cove clearly deserves favoritism. He should be a clear-cut favorite, and he'll probably win the race. But it just wouldn't surprise me if Nevada Charles gave him something to think about. He is a very handy horse on his day. And I'll tell you something really silly. I even think Always has a blowout chance from the outside post. His last couple of races have been a bit flat, but there's been several occasions that this horse has caught my eye with his fast finishes and gallop outs. And from the outside gate, if he can get going early, because he's not the best beginner, I've made notes about this horse on and off. He's made up good ground into 9.50 type closing splits, and I just think at those big odds from the outside post, he could at least get onto the board.
He's definitely interesting as well. He is from the same barn of Cattail Cove. So that makes it interesting. The runner that also I can't ignore, I don't know why, but I keep coming back to him, is El Bobito by Cartel. Because ever since he got that maiden diploma win in January of 2022, he's never been out of the money. He's been in there every battle, every dance. He puts up a solid effort. The only well-beaten third you see on the page is London Toby. We know how good London Toby can be when he's at his best.
Yeah.
But El Bobito by Cartel constantly puts up final eighth in the 9.5 range. That type of final eighth, I think, fits well with the others in this group. Now, he's probably going to have to run an absolutely perfect race from the rail to be a threat, but he's the one that kind of interests me right behind Cattail Cove. Look, Cattail Cove was just on class alone deserves to, clobber this field if he runs his A game. But I wouldn't be surprised if El Bobito runs a big race from the rail.
Yeah, it's a very interesting way to finish the program, just as far as linking together some multi-race wagers, because there's an obvious temptation to single Cattail Cove.
Yeah.
But, you know, if he were beaten, it just wouldn't be the biggest shock of 2023, I'm sure. But I mean, I love the horse.
Yes.
He probably wins, but
yes,
you can just get a little bit imaginative. And if I had him singled alive in pick sixes and pick fours, I just wouldn't be patting myself on the back until the race were over, you know.
it's kind of how backers of Empressum felt after that slow start. I mean, what a thrill it was last weekend in the trials for the Brad McKenzie Los Alamitos Winter Championship. Well, Michael, it was great to have you back here on the show. Let's see if we can stay hot. You're on fire. 3 in a row. Let's see if we can make it 4 in a row. And why don't we end the program here by showcasing one of the recipients of the PCQHRA Awards Banquet, and that's Paul Jones, who received that Frank Vessels here Senior Award. He received it at the banquet. He's a longtime fixture here at Los Alamitos, and he's pretty much won every big race that you can see here at Los Al. So a big salute to Paul Jones for getting that recognition, earning the Frank Vessels Senior Award at this year's banquet.
Yeah, well-deserved recognition. This award is for outstanding contributions to the sport of quarter horse racing. Quarter horse racing's been Paul's life. His dedication to it is unsurpassed, and he's the second all-time winning trainer at Los Alamitos. He's the leader all-time nationally, I think, for money won.
Yeah.
The list of stakes wins, we'd need a separate show to detail so many of these highlights as far as multiple victories in some of the most important races that we have. So, and you know, even though this is we think of Paul Jones, the trainer, and that's where most of his great accolades rest. But don't forget, he co-bred favourite Cartel.
Yes.
And also bred Foos, AQHA champion stallion. So he's just he's been such a valuable part of the Los Al racing community for so many decades, and it was a very well-deserved Frank Vessels Senior Award for Paul. And we thought we'd close the show with a little slide presentation, just showing you a few glimpses of Paul's career.
That sounds like a great way to wrap up the show. Michael, once again, thank you for joining us, and looking forward to your calls this weekend. I'll see you there at Los Alamitos.
Looking forward to it. Hooroo.
The best of quarter horse racing is always at Los Alamitos with the Los Alamitos Winter Derby and the Brad McKenzie Los Alamitos Winter Championship Finals, February 18th and 19th. It's round 3 in the Clash of Titans in the Brad McKenzie, as world champion Empressum takes on Apolitical Pence, who is the only horse to have defeated him at Los Alamitos. And in the Winter Derby, fastest qualifier Ghost Wither Fire headlines a great cast in the Grade 1 Derby. quarter horse racing's best, led by Empressum versus Apolitical Pence at Los Alamitos Racecourse.
Favorite Cartel sired 3 of the first 4 Golden State Million finalists, including the fastest.
Cyber Attack is putting on quite a display of speed tonight.
Meanwhile, in Texas, a Favorite Cartel won the Dash for Cash Derby.
But Favorite Bluesman, he streaks to victory.
At the major sales, 38 Favorite Cartels sold for $100,000 or more. Whether racing or selling, Favorite Cartel can put you in the big game. Contact Burns Ranch today.